In the movie 8 Mile, Eminem provides a great example of using cognitive biases to win the final rap battle against Papa Doc. Cognitive biases are powerful manipulative techniques that can be used to win any negotiation, close a sales deal, win an argument, even win a rap battle, even win the presidency. Cognitive biases are essentially shortcuts that the brain uses to make decisions. These shortcuts bypass normal, rational thinking. And so you have to be very careful they're not being used on you. Cognitive biases fight the myth that we actually have free will. A classic example is negativity bias. If a caveman heard a rustle in the leaves, they would assume the worst. It's a lion, and they would run without further investigating. This is why even now, newspapers often lead with negative news because they know it attracts our attention and we are likely to buy the newspaper. And even though humans are no longer running from lions, our brains can still be manipulated by the hundreds of cognitive biases that help us make quick decisions. Understanding these cognitive biases can allow people to manipulate, even control, the reactions of others, so they are worth learning to not only win arguments or close a sale or win a rap battle, but also protect ourselves from people using similar techniques. In this video, we will look at the final battle of the movie 8 Mile. The movie is about a white rapper named B-Rabbit, played by Eminem. After a series of failures in earlier battles in the movie, Eminem successfully uses powerful cognitive biases to totally vanquish his opponent. We will look at these biases to see how they can be used in almost any situation. Notice Eminem's first line.
Now everybody from the 313, put your motherfucking hands up and follow me.
The 313 is the area code for Detroit. And not just Detroit, it's for the blue-collar, black Detroit, where the entire audience and Eminem is from. So he wipes away the out-group bias that might be associated with his race, and he changes the conversation to who was in 313 and who was not in 313. He puts himself in the same group as the audience, based on the area code. He says,
Put your motherfucking hands up and follow me.
Everyone starts putting their hands up without thinking, so their brain tells them that they are doing this for rational reasons. For instance, their brain tells them they are now following Eminem. Another example of herd behavior is when someone yells fire in a movie theater, and then suddenly, instead of rationally leaving, everyone irrationally clogs the exits because of this cognitive bias. Now that Eminem has established who the in-group is, it's the 313 group, we have to start putting his opponent, Papa Doc, in the out-group. So Eminem says,
Now while he stands tough, notice that this man did not have his hands up.
In other words, even though Papa Doc is black, like everyone in the audience, he is no longer in the group that Eminem has defined and commanded, the 313 group. He has completely changed the conversation from race to area code. He doesn't refer to Papa Doc by name. He says, quote unquote, this man. In other words, there's the 313 group, which we are all a part of in the audience, and now there is this ambiguous man who's attempting to invade us. Watch, for instance, any presidential campaign debate. A candidate will rarely refer to another candidate by name. Instead, he might say, all of my opponents might think X, but we here know that Y is better. When the brain starts to view a person with ambiguity, it gets confused and can't make choices involving the ambiguity. So the person without ambiguity wins. Because the brain wants to take shortcuts, it will look for information more from people with credentials or lineage than from people who come out of nowhere. So for instance, if one person was from Harvard and told you it was going to rain today, and another person told you it was going to be sunny today, you might, because of credential bias, be more inclined to believe the person from Harvard. Eminem does this subtly 2 lines later. He says,
1, 2, 3 into the 4.
This is a direct line from Snoop Doggy Dogg's first song with Dr. Dre, Ain't Nothing But a G Thing.
1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door.
Is perhaps one of the most well-known rap lines ever. Eminem uses credential bias again when he says,
Cause ain't no such thing.
and now the audience goes with him and shouts out
Things is halfway crook.
a reference from Mobb Deep, which associates Eminem with another huge rap group, this time Mobb Deep. But then he points to his opponent, Papa Doc, and he makes a gesture like his head is being sliced off and says,
No pops, none.
meaning that Papa Doc has no lineage, no credibility, unlike Eminem and the audience. One of the strongest sales or negotiating techniques is to list the objections before the other side does. If they bring up the objections before you, then it looks like you were hiding something. And if you bring up the objections first, then it looks like you're being honest and upfront, and it removes their objections. So a great sales technique is to address all of the objections in advance. Listen to how Eminem does this in the next set of lines. He says, I know everything he's got to say against me. And then he just lists them one by one.
I am white. I am a fucking punk. I do live in a trailer with my mom. My boy Future is an Uncle Tom. I do got a dumb friend named Cheddar Bob who shoots himself in his leg with his own gun. I did get jumped, but all 6 of you jumped.
And so on. He lists several more. And at the end of that list, there's no more criticism you can make of him. He's addressed everything and dismissed them. Eminem says,
You went to Cranbrook.
and then Eminem turns to his quote-unquote 313 group for emphasis as he explains what Cranbrook is.
That's a private school.
Bam! There's no way now that the audience can be on Papa Doc's side, but Eminem makes the outgroup even larger.
His real name's Clarence. And Clarence's parents have a real good marriage.
Bam and bam. 2 more things that separate Papa Doc out from the crowd. He's a nerdy guy who goes to a rich school and his parents are together. Now it's clear Papa Doc doesn't live in the 313, which is originally stated somewhat humorously, but is now proven without a doubt. For the final cognitive bias, scarcity.
Fuck everybody. Fuck y'all if you doubt me. Well, I don't want to win. I'm outie.
He makes himself scarce. After establishing total credibility with the audience, he says he doesn't want what they have to offer. He reduces the supply of himself by saying he's out of there. Reduce the supply of yourself while demand is going up, basic economics, value goes up. Does it seem silly to analyze a rap song for ideas, how to be better at sales and communicating? I don't know. You tell me.